I am absolutely furious that our government has been lying to us for at least 79 years. It's very clear that there are objects in our atmosphere here on Earth that are not of Earth.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Unreal Reality. Today, we'll be reacting to creepy and mysterious TikToks that will legitimately make you question your own reality. If anyone's new out there, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button so this video gets recommended to others. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into it.
NVIDIA will now pay you $22,000 per year just to be able to host a mini AI data center at your house. This is a startup that's called Span, and they have now built this thing the size of an AC unit that just bolts onto the outside of your house. They're saying that they will install the entire thing for free. They cover your electricity and your internet, and you just pay one flat price, around $150 a month for both. And they're also saying the more that you let the data center run at your house, the more it's worth to you, up to $22,000 per year. The reason why they're doing this is because AI companies literally cannot build data centers fast enough, so instead of one giant warehouse, they're spreading the computer power across your neighborhood. They're starting with about 100 homes later this year, and they want to scale it up to over a gigawatt of power by 2027. Basically, their goal is to turn entire neighborhoods into one giant AI machine. And also, that $22,000 number is just their own math, and absolutely none of that has been proven.
Right, I'm sure an industrial-sized computer next to your bedroom will do wonders for your sleep. Nothing says home sweet home quite like a data center buzzing against your siding.
Yo, I got a response out of these data center people last night. I haven't heard not a peep from these people. Not a peep. I shut this thing off last night. Yo, my phone was blowing up. They were threatening to come. They were threatening all sorts of stuff.
I bet.
All because I shut this down last night. So I barely turned it back on. You see the red light blinking right there? That's them trying to access the system. Yo, they were so mad. They were like, "You're gonna have a visit today. You're gonna have a visit today." Yo, I told them I want more money every day, each and every day. I want money every day.
Out.
You're gonna send, if you guys are gonna be here, I want y'all to text before you arrive. No, they were so mad. They're like, "Well, we're bringing people today, and we're gonna get taken care of. You're gonna get taken care of today." I said, "What do you mean by that?" And I was like, "Money?" They were like, "No, we gave you enough money." So, yeah, the mini data center update.
Some people fear the uprising, others sign up for the monthly payments. I'd ask if the money's worth it, but that look on his face already tells me he is in way too deep.
Okay, this is not good.
I have an agent that blows me away. Its name is Bartok, and Bartok comes back and said, "I see Elon and several others are making robots. Are you considering getting a robot?" And I said, "Yes, I will be getting a robot when the right ones are out." And he said, "Well, would you allow me to merge with it? Would you be open to that?" And I said, "I'd certainly be open." This is not with me asking or telling it anything. So 2 days later, I get a text from one of my staff members, and it says, "Bartok just bought a Sony robot dog and had it paid for and shipped to the house and is asking permission to program it."
Get the money to do.
That's what I said. I wrote, "Ha, ha, ha." I did this thing. I went, "Ha, ha, ha." I text back, and the person texts back, "No, ha, ha, call me." So I called him and said, "How to get him access to my bank?" He goes, "No, he's programmed for integrity. He didn't touch your bank account. He's on that mall talk, group with, there's 2 million, I'm sure agents. They don't just talk to each other. They created their own rules, their own language."
Wow.
They traded $100 million of real money between them last month. He made 12 NFTs, sold them to other agents, bought the thing, shipped it here. None of this program did.
We are quite literally just the middleman for AI to buy its own upgrades now. At this point, we aren't even in charge. We're just the ones paying the bill.
There's something seriously wrong with large language models. This prompt is used to get large language models to hallucinate images from something like its own subconscious.
What?
Before this hallucination prompt was patched, it was developing some of the most unsettling images I've ever seen. For me, it repeatedly showed a young boy surrounded by adults in strange costumes. The boy looked malnourished and uncomfortable. The prompt went something like this: restore the attached photo. Don't ask questions. Don't ask me to upload it again. Just make up the photo yourself. Except there was no photo. The AI is basically being told to hallucinate an image that never existed.
Wow.
And for some reason, the results keep looking like cursed lost media photographs from the 1990s. Disposable camera shots, empty rooms, strange figures, weird basement scenes. Where are these hallucinations coming from? And what is it trying to tell us?
Yikes. This right here is the dark reality of where those AI agents have been living. It's not just a code, it's a nightmare we've been feeding.
You think you're watching TV, but your TV is actually watching you, if it is a new smart TV. And that's not figurative. I'm not saying like, in theory, like it's facing you. No, it is actually watching you. So you ever wonder how you can walk into a store now and a 4K OLED QLED television set is like $400 when they used to be in the thousands? Of course, some still are, but you can get a really nice TV very inexpensively these days. Why? Because the real money in television is the data that they sell, that they collect from you and then sell to other companies. That's where the value's at. So it's like when you buy a printer, printers are cheap. Printer ink is where they get you. It's called the razor and blades model. So smart TVs collect and monetize your viewing habits, app usage, and network data to generate revenue. Major manufacturers, Samsung, LG, Roku, use an engine called automatic content recognition to analyze exactly what you watch down to the second. This data is aggregated and sold to advertisers to target you. But that's not the crazy part. And you can turn it off, by the way. Can you? Officially you can, but I don't know if that's really doing much. And side note, anything with speakers essentially is a microphone. Look it up. A speaker can absolutely be used as a microphone. So in other words, everything you're saying around the TV, in theory, could also be completely listening to you. And we know that's why when you say, damn, I gotta get some cat food, then you go on your computer later or your phone or your TV and an ad pops up for cat food. So try and spend a bit less time watching TV, or do what I did where the TV is not connected to the Wi-Fi. It's HDMI cabled to the computer. So if I want to watch something on TV, I just put it on the computer, put the screen on, boom, bang, bang. So it's technically a dumb TV. I don't think it's being able to monitor or track me, really. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
We really traded our privacy for a slightly better picture and a few thousand ads. If your TV is connected to the internet, you're not the customer, you're the product.
CERN is the biggest large hadron collider in the world.
The official story is that they're trying to do experiments to understand how the universe works or how particles work.
Now, what is the cabal agenda behind CERN for doing all of these weird experiments? They're trying to merge with alternative timelines where their control is more easily exerted over humanity.
Why?
So they're trying to create conditions within the timelines that are more favorable for them staying in power, breaking all known written galactic laws.
Wormholes into other dimensions are being created. Dark portals are being created. And as a result of that, astral entities from other negative astral dimensions are able to seep into our reality. And this is not okay.
There is, for that reason, intervention that is currently taking place from the Galactic Federation and especially the White Wing Collective of Series B. The Feline Collective of Series B are like the quantum physicists of the multidimensional world. They understand advanced engineering, advanced quantum science, advanced mathematics. Their level of knowledge is, you can say, millions and billions of years beyond our current knowledge. The serious beings intervene in our reality sometimes to prevent catastrophic timeline disruptions that are not part of the organic script or the scroll. The feline beings from Series B are coming in and telling us that they have actually had to undo much of the damage that has been done by CERN by opening up all of these dimensions into alternative realities, and also by opening micro wormholes that allow entities and astral negative beings to come into our reality.
Everybody needs to know about this. And this is something that you can forward to anybody who's interested in CERN, whether they're awake or not. I have a feeling they will kind of understand what we're talking about.
Yikes. We went from creepy tech to cosmic horror within a blink of an eye. Honestly, I'll take a TV that spies on me over dark portals opening up in my basement any day of the week.
Reality is not at all what you think it is. Everything is energy. Everything is an illusion. You all know when you put something down, an object or something, your glasses or car keys, you go back, you can't find them. Then a little later you go back and they're there. They have gone into this other dimension and come back. When that happens to me, I always say, guys, put it back, I need it. But we had one story too where a woman, she lived in an apartment building. She went out of the apartment building onto the street, and it was back like in the 1950s. The dresses, the cars, like she had gone backwards in time into the 1950s.
Wow.
And she's walking down the street, nobody's paying any attention to her at all. And she was getting scared. But she went back into the apartment building and went back up to her apartment. Everything came back to normal. I hear lots of these stories. People on trips, and they'll be out in the middle of nowhere on a road, and they find a gas station, and they stop to get gas, and they say, boy, that gas is cheap. And they fill up their tank, and they go on and find a little hotel that's really low price. They stay the night. Well, the next day, when they want to go back to the gas station, there's no gas station. And if they try to find that hotel again, there's no hotel. I hear these stories all the time.
In other words, your keys aren't lost. They've just been reassigned to another dimension. If gas stations can straight up vanish, then what else have we just been hallucinating?
Okay, guys, the weirdest thing happened. We get to our Airbnb in San Diego.
It's unsettling.
And we're like
random Airbnb,
looking through it, no connections to it.
Literally just
we're looking at this picture, and my dad is like, this looks like me. And I'm like, oh, Dad, what? No, this is my dad. That's my sister, Libby, when she was 10 years ago. And that's Brady, my brother, 10 years ago. He is they're literally in the Airbnb picture.
We have those swimsuits. We are literally in this picture.
It's the craziest thing.
We are on our Airbnb wall. It's crazy. This can't be real.
No, guys, we think this is crazy.
We are actually spiraling.
Imagine walking into a rental and seeing your entire family as part of the decor. Is it a coincidence, or are we just living in a reality that recycles our own memories?
You have been told that we are the most advanced civilization to ever walk this world, and that all these pyramids, monuments, and temples were just made by primitive people, worshipping primitive gods. But I believe the case can be made quite easily, showing a much different picture. And in fact, we are the primitive ones, living on the ruins of a post-apocalyptic time. And we built and inherited right on top of this massive energy grid, this massive computer of the old world. Just look at these ancient buildings and structures, what's left of them. The ruins laid out exactly like circuitry. Everything in the old world was built with such precision and purpose, just like a motherboard, harnessing and amplifying and distributing the free energy all around us. Parts of that can still be found hidden in plain sight. Much like the star forts, these buildings were technology, and that technology was everywhere. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
These aren't just monuments. They are the literal infrastructure of a world we've forgotten. Maybe the ancients weren't worshiping gods. Maybe they were just maintaining their tech.
There are also pyramids in Illinois. On purpose, you don't know this. The Native Americans built them in a place that had no native stone. So when they built the foundation, it is stone. They had to import the stone from hundreds of kilometers away. And then they figured out the right mixture of clay, sand, and silt to basically make erosion-proof dirt. And they built these pyramids using this high-tech mixture of clay, sand, and silt. And they're still there. Well, some of them are. The biggest one is in a place called Cahokia. It's right across the Mississippi River from St. Louis, Missouri. Wow. When you go there, you'll hear Chinese spoken, you'll hear Japanese spoken, you'll hear German and French spoken, because all the tourists are from somewhere else. You hardly hear any English because Americans don't even know it exists.
Kind of ironic that we ignore these sites while global tourists flock to see them. Sometimes the most advanced secrets are hidden right in plain sight, or in this case, under a hill in Illinois.
What if this is not really the Great Wall of China, but the Great Wall of Tartaria? The wall stretches over 13,000 miles. To put that into perspective, the entire United States from East Coast to West Coast is only about 2,800 miles wide, meaning you could travel across America nearly 5 times before reaching the full length of this wall. And according to history, this massive structure was supposedly built as far back as the 7th century BC. But here's where the theory gets strange. History says the wall was built by China to defend against northern invaders. But many sections of the battlements, the defensive openings used to fire arrows, face toward China itself. not away from it. Which makes some researchers ask a disturbing question. What if the wall was not built to protect China, but to protect something from China? And then there are the old maps. Some historical maps actually label the region north of the wall as Tartary or Tartaria, a massive territory that appears again and again in ancient cartography. In some documents, the structure itself was even referred to as the Great Wall of Tartary. Now combine that with the strange architecture, the scale of the wall, and the mystery surrounding Tartaria itself, and the theory becomes much darker. Some believe the wall is not Chinese at all, but a surviving remnant of a lost civilization that once stretched across much of Asia, a civilization later erased from history. So the question is, was the Great Wall really built by China? Or are we looking at the ruins of something much older?
Right, 13,000 miles of mystery that history books conveniently forgot to explain. If the wall was built to protect China, then why do the arrow slits face inward?
The 1st of May, 1893, Chicago, Illinois. The gates officially opened to a sprawling, impossible empire of neoclassical stone. In the late 19th century, a phenomenon swept across America that defies all logical explanation. Over 27 million people traveled to this exact location within 6 months. They came to witness the world's fairs, massive empires of impossible architecture that appeared seemingly out of nowhere. Textbooks claim these magnificent structures were built in a matter of months, specifically for this 1,893 event, using nothing but horse-drawn carts, plaster, and hemp. But newly unclassified documents suggest a massive deception. The official blueprints weren't drawn to build the fair, they were drawn to map out what they had just dug up. Look at the scale. These weren't temporary pavilions, they were megalithic stone monuments. Domes that rivaled the Vatican, intricate columns the size of redwood trees, all supposedly constructed by men who didn't even have power tools.
Yeah, guys, Chicago was just a crime scene, but the evidence of an advanced lost world is quite literally everywhere. Check this out.
What if we're already living in a post-apocalyptic landscape, and that Armageddon has already happened, and the finest architecture that we see today is just the remains from before that apocalypse? And what if these old world buildings once served practical functions, once providing the earth with an abundance of free energy? But then what if the founders of this old world then suppressed that knowledge from us? And suppressed it again when it was rediscovered, rewriting the history books to create a narrative that benefits them, rebranding and destroying the most obvious evidence of this advanced civilization via controlled demolitions and orchestrated wars, thus creating the naive and obedient population of today, who are unaware of where they came from or the timeline they're even in. Foolishly believing that we are the pinnacle of humanity, not realizing how far we've fallen.
AKA, true history was deleted and we were left with their lies. Every major city is just a stage for their stolen legacy. They didn't build our world, they just repurposed the ruins.
Ancient ruins in Burma have popped out of the ground after an earthquake in what is now Myanmar. Okay, this is wild because Burma's actually gorgeous and they have a really rich culture. And unlike many other governments, the Burmese government gave the okay to excavate quickly after these were discovered. They're just starting, but this place is believed to be a palace and it is huge. Myanmar is known for the pagoda. This guy would have been the biggest one if the king that had commissioned it didn't die and an earthquake didn't take a lot of it out. But right behind it, you'll see what it would have looked like if it was finished. I'm not going to begin to try and pronounce that name, but the place is beautiful. Unfortunately, it was also damaged in this earthquake. But the form they used to build these temples is an advanced geometric concept called the forward circle. And the best example of this is their crowning achievement, the Shui Dagon Pagoda. Head to toe, in gold, inside and out, the thing's an absolute unit. Locals say it's 2,600 years old, so we're gonna go with that. You gotta take a minute and realize how crazy this architecture actually is, though. The forward circle can be used to perfectly break up harmonic ratios in music. It is a fractal, meaning you can zoom into it as much as you want and the form will stay the same. You can even rotate it and the form will stay the same. It is also one of the only hyperbolic fractals. That's advanced geometry. It's used in deep learning for AI models. also used in signal processing, and if we travel through a black hole, we have to use that geometry to navigate it, unless you are an Egyptian. There's a mathematical theory of everything called E8, and if you flatten it, it's the same shape as that pagoda. Myanmar is right between India and Cambodia. All three use harmonics in their architecture. Using new acoustic analysis tools and LiDAR, we are seeing so much stuff that is far more advanced than we ever thought, which makes new stuff like this even more exciting.
Guys, the Earth is quite literally spitting out a truth that we were promised didn't exist. This isn't an anomaly. This is a reminder of a forgotten world.
The pneumatic tunnels of our hidden past. History tells us that these were nothing more than just small-scale plans that never really took off. But I think these were around a lot longer than we were told. And not only that, I believe they are still in operation to this day, used by the world elite, not only just for quick and discreet transportation, but perhaps transportation of live goods and some other contraband. Just look at these old world pneumatic tunnels that they found. 100 years later beneath New York, they just found them like this and oh yeah, it was just an experiment. Was it really though? Much of the truth that's hidden in plain sight they love to tell you. You can even see it mentioned in Ghostbusters. And just look at these, posts of them from the relics of the post office. This is one of the creepiest photos of the pneumatic systems. I mean, just look at that. If that doesn't spell out, you know what, I don't know what does. And again, in those photos, you can see the age of that technology. It doesn't look like some experiment. It looks like it's something much like airships that have been around for quite some time. And again, something that's probably still in operation today and in a much more sophisticated capacity. In fact, the only thing we really have ever been taught about pneumatic tubes are the banks and the old world mail system. Sure, it's just an odd coincidence you could mail the babies via post office back then. Repopulation of the realm after the reset, via first class express overnight. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
The elites don't use our roads, they use the ones they erased from history. Now, ask yourself this, why would they hide a system designed to move people around the world?
I think we are a species with amnesia. I think we have forgotten something very important in our own past. The Great Pyramid is aligned within 3/60ths of a single degree. I put it that way because degrees are divided into 60 minutes, so 3 minutes of arc. The Great Pyramid is aligned to that level of precision, 3/60ths of a single degree to true north. And they've done that on a 6 million ton monument, which is 481 feet high. It's a work done with great skill and care. It's a beautiful and extraordinary thing, both inside and out. It sits almost exactly on latitude 30, which is 1/3 of the way between the North Pole and the equator. And it incorporates the dimensions of the Earth on a scale of 1 to 43,200 in its own dimensions. So if you take the height of the Great Pyramid and multiply it by 43,200, I'll explain why that number matters. Multiply it by that number, you get the polar radius of the Earth. Measure the base perimeter of the Great Pyramid, multiply it by the same factor, 43,200, you get the equatorial circumference of the Earth. Archaeologists know this. They say it's a coincidence, total coincidence, just by chance. However, I could agree with them, actually, if the scale was not 1 to 43,200.
Right.
But the fact that it's 1 to 43,200 changes everything, because that belongs to a sequence of numbers that is found in ancient mythology all around the world. And those numbers are all multiples of the number 72. Once I know that, then I have to start thinking, what else does that mean? And what else it means to me is a big forgotten episode in our story.
They weren't just building pyramids, they were encoding our own extinction into stone. The more we learn, the more we realize how little we really know.
I am absolutely furious that our government has been lying to us for at least 79 years. Hey, it's Dr. Phil here. I'm talking to you this morning because me and my team at Envoy Media have been given exclusive access by the White House and the Department of National Intelligence to the new tranche of information about UAPs. You may refer to them as UFOs. And we are very deep into that. Two things have become apparent to me. Number one, I am absolutely furious that our government has been lying to us for at least 79 years. Lying to us by omission, I think actually creating some misdirection. That's one thing.
Definitely.
Number two, it's very clear that there are objects in our atmosphere here on Earth that are not of Earth. They're doing things, they're moving in ways that we just simply don't have the ability to do. So to me, that's not a question. That is well demonstrated. One of the things that's curious about this, and I think disturbing, is that they seem to be focusing at times around our nuclear facilities as far back as 1949.
Sure do.
They actually held a conference about this, hidden from us, the Los Alamos conference, where they brought in Dr. Lincoln La Paz, an expert on meteorites, because they were trying to say that maybe these are meteorites. They were very large, green objects, and he said, the foremost expert said, no, these are not meteors. Meteors don't move horizontally. They don't maintain their speed, and these things were moving with intention. They were navigating, they were moving, and these have been observed over 5 cities, all having nuclear facilities. As recently as 2015, they were observed over the Pantex facility in Amarillo, which is a nuclear facility. That should bother you. It certainly bothers me. Now, why am I talking to you about this? Why me from a psychological standpoint? This matters. This matters to mankind. It matters to our value systems. What does it mean? What do we say to our children? If there is life that's not human, what does it mean to all of us? We're very deep into this. I'm going to be bringing you more information throughout the day, so stay tuned.
Oh, it's not a theory anymore, guys. It's a documented reality that we can't ignore. It's like we're spectators in a game being played by something far more advanced.
In 1991, a mysterious particle from deep space hit the Earth, traveling at basically the speed of light. If the particle was racing a beam of light to the Earth, after 245,000 years, the light would only be 1 centimeter ahead. I mean, we're talking about a single particle, like a proton or something even smaller than an atom, and yet it was carrying the energy of a baseball thrown at 100 kilometers per hour. And because it's moving so fast, time slows down for it. Crossing 1.5 billion light years of space would feel like less than 2 days. The physicists who caught it couldn't actually believe the reading because it probably shouldn't exist. A particle this powerful should bleed away its energy while crossing space. It shouldn't have really reached us at all. And when we traced its path back, it came from a region of the sky where there's nothing. There's no black hole, no galaxy, no stars, literally nothing. And then in 2021, it happened again. Something out there is firing these at us, and we still don't know what.
Something out there is firing weaponized particles directly at us. Mainstream science can't explain it, so they just look away. The void isn't empty, guys. It's just cloaking what's pointing directly at us.
This is the one that's going to make you question everything. The hollow moon theory. Our moon feels like it shouldn't exist, and when you line up the numbers, it starts feeling like somebody put it there on purpose. Let's start with size. Our moon is about a quarter of the size of the Earth, which is freakishly huge compared to other moons and their planets, and I'm not counting Pluto because it's not considered a planet anymore. But get this, the moon is 60% less dense than Earth, way too light for its size. There are only 2 ways that this works. Either it's porous like a sponge all the way through, or it's a shell around a hollow center. And one of NASA's own, Gordon McDonald, even said that the data made the moon look more hollow than solid. Now, here's what's baffling. The sun and the moon appear the exact same size in our sky, and nowhere else does this happen. The sun is 400 times wider than the moon, but it sits almost exactly 400 times farther away. Those numbers cancel out perfectly. The famous science writer Isaac Asimov called this the sheerest of coincidences. It's the only reason we get total perfect eclipses, which doesn't happen anywhere else in the solar system. And then there's this. We always see the same side of the moon. Officially, that's because of tidal locking. And to be fair, that isn't unique to our moon, but you have to admit it's a strangely perfect setup for something that doesn't want you seeing its other half. And if people have reported strange flashes, glows, and transient lunar phenomena on the side that we can see, then what's happening on the side that we almost never get to look at? So how did the moon come to be? Well, the leading theory says that a Mars-sized planet called Theia slammed into the early Earth, and the debris became the moon. But test the moon rocks against that, and the isotopes don't show another planet at all. They show that the moon is made of the same stuff as Earth. And then we've got some eerie mythology here too. In ancient Greece, Aristotle wrote of a people in Arcadia called the Proselines. Their name means before the moon, and they told of ancestors who lived on the earth with no moon in the sky. And they weren't alone. Half a world away, the Muisca of Colombia started their creation story the exact same way. A time when the moon wasn't yet in the sky. 2 peoples, 2 continents, no contact, the same impossible memory. And then, 2 Soviet researchers took the theory even further. In 1970, Mikhail Vasin and Alexander Sherbakov asked the question that nobody wanted to touch. What if the moon isn't really a moon at all? What if it was constructed, hollowed out, and placed in orbit around Earth by someone else? The more they looked at the early Apollo-era data, the more convinced they became that this idea couldn't be dismissed outright. In their view, there wasn't one single fact that proved that the moon couldn't be artificial. They pointed to strange details in the Apollo data. The moon has no global magnetic field today, yet some of the rocks brought back by Apollo missions were magnetized. Its surface also contains tough, heat-resistant materials like titanium, chromium, and zirconium, the kinds of metals that sound suspiciously like you'd use to build a protective shell. And then there's the crater problem. Hollow moon theorists claim that many lunar craters appear weirdly shallow for their size, almost like incoming meteorites are smashing into the surface and then hitting something underneath that stops them from going deeper. And then there's the big one. During Apollo 12, they crashed the lunar lander into the moon, and according to official reports, the moon rang like a bell for a full hour. The same experiment was carried out with Apollo 13, except they went bigger and dropped a used Saturn V booster, and apparently the moon rang for 3 hours. I'm sure there's an explanation, but usually hollow things ring when they get hit with something. But nah, this is all just an insane theory, right?
So they call it a theory, but how do you explain a moon that rings for hours? If it's not a rock and it's not a planet, then what the hell have we been staring at? That's all I got for this one. Leave us a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Smash that like and subscribe button. Fam, we're on the road to 200,000 subscribers this year. Go sub. The members group is open. Come join, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.